execute as much. We obviously started extremely fast in that first half, really rolling, and then they switched it up a little bit, what they were doing on defense, making us be a little bit more patient, but then they were defending the runs a lot better. But in our minds and after watching the film, it still comes down to us executing and doing our jobs each and every play. So, that's really what it was. And we had plenty of chances to seal that game, and we didn't.
Figure how much, you don't spend a lot of time with these guys, but we saw you have some rapport with McMillan in training camp. Palmer has made plays for you.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to rep it all week, how much confidence do you have in these young guys, now that they get a full game, they get their ops, right?
Oh, yeah. I'll be extremely confident in those guys. It's obviously had rapport with Trey going back to last year, Sterling for years, obviously, and Jalen all offseason and training camp. So, it's just I expect those guys to have success and play really well. And, throughout the week, getting on the same page within the game plan as we continue to nail this thing down. And, we expect everybody to step up in a big way and, still leaning on our offensive line. Thought they played great. Obviously the past few weeks, I think they played really well, and backs continue to play well. So it's just going to be a full group effort. It's going to look different, but that's okay. And you know what? It'll be a little bit more creative, and we'll have some fun with it.
I was going to say, is this a chance for Liam? You know him very well. Kind of flex that creative muscle with the three running backs and some of the new guys? Yeah,
I mean, as we're getting this game plan going, it's, looking at obviously not having Mike and Chris, it's teams can't exactly, play to those tendencies when we're game planning with those guys. So it'll look different, but everybody's just got to do their part. Everybody's got to be dialed in and next man up.
One positive that did come out of the Ravens game was the fact that we did see this rushing attack is starting to take off, and that screen game continues to grow. How much can you lean on that, especially the screen game with the running backs, to kind of get you through this time when you are going to be shorthanded with receivers?
Yeah, it's the improvement in the run game, and obviously I said offensive line's played unbelievable the last few weeks, and just continuing to hammer the details home, and that's where you've seen the biggest jump in the run game. Is those guys are just really on the same page. Guys are hitting their tracks and doing it right. You're seeing the explosive plays because guys downfield are also making the blocks they need to. So gonna lean on that and see how they want to defend us. We won't know because it'll be a new look for us as well.
You had some real noticeable chemistry with Jalen McMillan during training camp, but it's been kind of a quiet start to the season. I know he missed 2 games with hamstring injuries. I want to say there were 2 pass attempts of yours that were intercepted that were intended for him. What needs to happen there to kind of get you guys on the same page? Is it just more time on task together? Is it spending time together off the field? Because now you're going to be counting on him more.
Yeah, it's a little bit of combination of everything. Just talking a little bit extra about the details within the schemes, and then, when we do get the live reps during practice this week, making sure we get it down. And if we need to take an extra rep after practice, making sure we do that. But the constant communication, obviously him being a rookie and understanding where Mike and Chris are and just understanding their body language. Still learning that with Jalen, but expect him to play well and be in the right spot at the right time.
Rashad White had a big game in his return. What did you see from him?
Yeah, explosive. Thought he was, obviously toughened it out quite a bit for us and just played well. Made the plays when they were there for him to make. And, that's what we expect out of any back we have in there. But, it was good to see Rashad back and healthy and definitely making plays in the pass game as well.
Obviously, every game's important in the NFL, but this game against the Falcons has a pretty big significance, really in the NFC South. And already have one up on you guys. Is there a sense of urgency in the building kind of about that, or is it more measured and understanding that every game's important?
Every game's important. Obviously, you have a little bit more emphasis on the divisional games, and just where we're at right now. It's tied for the division. This one's outright lead for the division, and definitely need it for head-to-head stuff. But we need this one. Next game mentality, but it just so happens to be a divisional opponent at home.
How much are you being tested right now as a leader for this team, especially after the injuries that just happened? A lot of players are just going to look to you, whether that's in body language or verbally.
The thing is we don't just have, it's not just me. We have a ton of leaders around this building. For example, Chris Godwin wasn't even named a captain. You don't have to have any of that stuff on your chest to be a leader. And we have plenty of guys that have stepped up in a huge way. And, so more verbal from me will go a long way. Body language always, but that's what I try and do every day for these guys. Be consistent, be the same leader, bring energy, and just have these guys focused.
Okay, went down, you see just the emotional impact it had on the entire team. Do you worry about life being drained a little bit with those 2 losses with him and Evan?
No, it obviously sucks. There's no way around that. But when it comes down to it, you should want to play. The guys, next man up mentality, you don't want anybody to be hurt, but you should want to play for those guys. You know, you should want to be able to bridge this gap, you know, in the meantime until we get Mike back as well. But, yeah, you should want to play for these guys. They meant a lot to this team, so a little bit of extra effort for it.
You've done a good job protecting the football, you know, for the last 2 weeks. What are you finding? Is there a common theme of maybe causing some of the mistakes?
Yeah, the second one was just decision making. I'd say that one's really similar to the first one in New Orleans. Just not the right throw by any means. Just check it down, live with play the next down, and then in the red zone, just lost Marlon Humphrey. You know, he covered Cade originally in the flat route and just made a good play falling underneath it. But in the red zone especially, if he's not blatantly wide open that late on a scramble drill, don't throw it.
There's always a fine line between being aggressive and reckless in the passing game. As a guy holding the ball every play, do you have to monitor yourself in terms of not going too far in one direction or the other?
No, just try and go through the reads, let the defense dictate where the ball needs to go, and you know when we have things schemed up to win, got to let it rip. You know you can't be timid. That's when you hesitate, mistakes happen. A lot more sacks. You hold on to the ball, bad things can happen.
You're averaging 30 points, Baker. I think you're number one in third down conversion percentage. I know you don't want to go through another coordinator change, but is Liam Cohn sort of building a strong resume, and other teams might be looking at this guy?
You would expect that, yeah. But you know, Liam's obviously done a great job of playing to our guys' strengths, and that's a huge part of being a coordinator. And so we'll take it one game at a time, and hopefully make him stay around here. Whether that's I don't know, behind closed doors, just beating him up or whatever it takes.
You got to give them your most compelling case. Start mapping it out now.
Well, yeah, I'll get through this week. Maybe it's some more creamsicle gear. I don't know what it is.
Baked goods, find out what he likes to
Yeah,
eat.
exactly.
Do you have any, does Jason Light come to you, do you have any input at all? I know they're looking for wide receivers. Todd said though, right now we're going, we're confident with the guys we have. Do you have any input at all with Jason in that as they're looking now outside?
No, it's not like I'm sitting down and having a meeting with them. Now, if they had any questions about a guy, if they know I've worked with them in the past, I mean, they already know exactly who most of these guys are. They just want a little bit of confirmation. But yeah, I'm confident in the guys we have. So go out there and roll with that, and until somebody else shows up, this is what we got, and I'm happy with that.
Are you going to have to put some extra work in with these guys on the side to kind of just get them on the same page with you?
I think it's extra communication within the game plan, just making sure that the details, because obviously today's a walkthrough, making sure we talk through it again, a lot of mental reps, just making sure that whatever the look is, we're on the same page, and then when we do get the live reps, if we miss it in practice, get it after.
Baker, what are your thoughts on the cream school uniforms and just the cream school week and what this kind of old school feel will be like?
I think it's really fun. I love the creamsicle unis. Maybe we should wear them more often. I don't know. It's not my choice, not my decision, but I like it a lot, and it's just fun. You see all the old school gear, the fans that have been fans for decades that still have their old stuff, the retro stuff. It makes it fun and an exciting week for us.
How valuable is it to have someone like Sterling Shepard? He was deep on the bench, but now he's coming up into a bigger role, and you have that chemistry from college. Just how much trust is there in that relationship during these times?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of trust in Sterling. It's been like that forever. But it's always good to have a deep receiver room. It's a long year. Things happen, so you have to have these guys step up in a big way. But you don't want to ask them to do too much. Stay within yourself. It's not like they have to replace Mike and Chris. It's going to be a group effort and go from there. But, yeah, I trust Sterling a lot.
Chemistry isn't just a physical thing in this. Like, you also kind of need to know personality-wise and sometimes even what buttons to push with which guys, or some guys need a little kick in the butt, some guys need you to kind of wrap your arm around them. And it helps when you've already been through a year with guys like Mike and Chris, but for some of these, and Trey as well, but for some of the newer guys, or guys you just haven't had that much time with, where do you feel that you're at with that?
Yeah, I understand these guys. That's a part of the off-season program, which is why I think getting to know these guys throughout the whole year is important. Yeah, we're in a good place. I know how these guys are wired, how they tick. So yeah, I expect everybody to be in a good headspace.
Cade had a big game. How confident are you in him going forward as well?
Cade's always been consistent. Somebody that we can always rely on. Obviously, last year, I think he played like 97% of our offensive snaps, and he's just consistent. Makes plays when we're calling on his number, and then does a lot of the dirty work. So he's a guy that we trust, and I trust completely.